Yeah.
Break.
Yeah, exactly. It creates a lot of hoo-hoo. Like, this is fun.
Maverick, come. Or break.
I'm thinking that like we do this for 2 more days, just this type of stuff. And you can go ahead and layer other beds. You can do break or place or just come and place. But we don't slow them down for 2 days.
Yeah.
Like just this stuff.
Place.
All right, so now let me work on this one. So we've got Cooper spending his days out here now. He's in a smaller crate just during the day between sessions. So he has less room to spin around and move around. And I want to get him start to observe people coming in and out. We also have guests this week, which is good for him. And instead of him being in the dog room and resting like he's supposed to, which he doesn't do anyway, he just waits in a down, open-eyed for his turn. And so we might as well start to utilize that energy out here and where he has to deal with watching all of the dogs work, people going in and out. And this is truly his first time. And I'm going to show you, hopefully, successfully, what I want him to do. And we're just going to do some playing around and I'll just catch it on video. So I want him to DOW in, but I'm not going to say anything just yet. I would really like to get him more thinking on his own. He's incredibly intelligent, which is part of his problem. Okay, so I'm at a 3, and I'm going to hold it down. Now I'm off of it. So he signaled to it. He moved his head towards the Ecollar box, so I know he felt it. But he didn't do anything. Probably needed a 4. But I'm just going to give him a few seconds. I'm going to try my 3 again. On the button. Off the button. Okay. 4 usually tends to be like there's a difference, a significant difference with him between 3 and 4. So I'm just going to quick tap instead of hold it down just to see what I get. So I'm going to quick tap now. Excellent. Now you'd think that this is all I want. Like, this is good, right? He's laying down in crate while another dog is out. It's not all I want. So I'm going to give him a minute with this. I'm glad that he's not staring at Maverick anymore, but I want more. I want head all the way down or have him facing the window and head down. Either one I'm good with. So basically, if he gets uncomfortable, especially when our guest comes in, he'll get corrected and he'll have to face, because he'll bark or growl, and he'll have to face away and lay down, and he has to make that choice. And I'll help guide him through it if I need to, but I'd rather play around with levels and get him to problem solve it himself if I can. But of course, at some point, I'll give extra help. All right, so I'm going to tap a 4 again, and I'm holding it down for a second, and off the button. He put his head down lower, but that's it. On it, holding it down. Off of it. I didn't want to go off of the button while he was scratching because I don't want him to think that that's what makes that weird low feeling move away. Maxine had to go in the dog room for something, so I'm going to wait till she comes back in before I ask for a little bit more from him. All right. On it again. I'm off. Now I'm going to go to a 6 and do a quick tap. Now I'm going to scroll back down to my 3. Holding the button down. Now I'm off the button. Do the same thing at a 4 on the button. Off the button. See how he's kind of like, why is this, what's going on? So now I'm gonna give him more help. So I've tried to get him to kind of figure out what I want from him without going over there and helping him. And I feel like I've kind of hit my limit. Now I've got a couple choices. If I took a break from this for 10, 15 minutes and then came back at it again, he could probably problem solve it better. But I'm gonna, especially because Maverick's out, I'm gonna go ahead and go over to him and give him some help. No, down. And that way you can just kind of see what that looks like as well. So I'm gonna go to a 3, because I know he feels a 3. You guys see that he feels a 3. I'm going to hold it down and lower my head and point down at the ground at the same time. Down. Good. And I'm gonna hang here for a second. He didn't move on that verbal from Maxine, so that was good. Now I'm gonna just lift back up. So dogs mimic behavior, especially border collies. He might be some mix, but I mean, he's got so much border collie in him instinct-wise that it doesn't really matter. It's very, very border collie. And just his attitude and just what he's like. If he's mixed with anything, it's probably cattle dog, which is possibly worse. So anyway, his ability to read body language, adjust to body language is definitely in the higher percentage than we see a lot of times. So, except with our cattle dogs and our other border collies, sometimes Aussies that come through, they just have this crazy knack for body language. So my point is just that the reason I hung down there for a few seconds before I lifted up is because I wouldn't have been surprised if when I lifted up, he lifted his head up. That's super common. My border collie actually does that all the time when we were trying to teach him the relaxed down. It was very hard for him to see me lift up and him not lift his head up. We just had to be like, no, and just correct it at a very low level, and then he started to pick it up. We do this with my border collie next to the windows because he whines at squirrels, so it's really good for him. Getting some speed and some drive from Maverick because he's just been cautious about following leash pressure. He's like, I want to do what I want to do. So we've just been keeping it fun for him for right now to create all the muscle memory with the patterning before we layer on more distractions, accountability, slow him down, stuff like that. All right, so now that I'm getting this, I'm going to get up. All right, so I'm standing up. I'll walk away. No. So that's a tap. Down. Good. And I'm going to go back over here and sit in my chair, continue to work on my phone, and he has to keep his head down. So knock at the door. No head down. Them working, no head down. It is not enough that he sits in crate and is good. It's just not enough for some dogs. He has to have his head down. So just a really huge adjustment for some of you guys. This is not for every dog, but for some of you guys out there dealing with some really intense arousal issues, this is a small tweak to your program that can really help. And even if you're not using Ecollar, obviously it's much easier with Ecollar, but you can do this without it too. It's just harder. But yeah, he'll have to stay here forever for the rest of his stay. At night he'll go back in dog room, more room, you know, blanket curl up and go to bed. But during the day, he's going to be out here dealing with all the comings and goings with his head down. Hey guys, so just real quick, Maxine's now outside with Maverick working on recall work, and Cooper started whining, wanted to be out there, feeding off of the energy and probably wanting to go after Maverick. And so I went to a 6 tap, immediately put his head down, all the way down, stopped whining, and he's been really good ever since. So this can be useful in a lot of different ways. Just wanted to point that out.